Welcome back. The Biden administration reaching an agreement with the governments of Mexico, Honduras, and Guatemala to tighten borders and ramp up security, according to officials. This agreement pushes for more troops to be deployed to stop cartels and traffickers amid the migrant influx. White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki spoke about this yesterday.
There have been a series of bilateral discussions between our leadership and the regional governments of Mexico, Honduras, and Guatemala. As with any diplomatic discussion, these discussions happen at several levels. And certainly, as you know, we have an envoy who has discussions with the region. We've had Roberta Jacobson working for a period of time to help have these discussions with the region about what steps can be taken to help reduce the number of migrants who are coming to the U.S.-Mexico border.
Joining us right now is New York Congresswoman and House Transportation and Infrastructure and Foreign Affairs Committee member Nicole Malliotakis. Congresswoman, this certainly sounds like the same deal that President Trump had in place with these three countries, and then President Biden came in and stopped those deals. Is this a quiet way to go back to what Trump was doing?
Well, I think we have to take a wait-and-see approach here because, I can tell you just being at the border over the weekend that the crisis is, it really is new levels that I don't think the American people have seen before. And we have been pushing for the president to reinstate the policies. Now, he's talking about actually giving funding to try to stem some of the economic issues that are driving the migrants out. But, President Trump took a very hard stand and said that people would need to remain in those countries and apply for asylum and wait there until their turn. The problem is that less than 10% of these asylum claims are actually legitimate. And what we're seeing is a robust criminal operation put in place by the cartels and the smugglers. They are earning $500 million a year, according to the individuals that I spoke to in law enforcement at the border over this weekend. And that is really what the president, the United States, and these countries have to cooperate and go after to stop that criminal enterprise that has led to an increase in migration, which, by the way, is also serving as a distraction to our Customs and Border Protection agents, because as they're processing these applications, as they are, overseeing these facilities where the migrants are staying, the unaccompanied minors as well, then all this other nefarious activity is taking place at the poorest parts of our border. And so we need to ensure that they have the resources and they need to have their hands untied so they can do the job of protecting our border and ensuring we stem the flow of this illegal migration and the smuggling of sex trafficking, you have gun trafficking and drug trafficking, all very serious issues here in the United States of America.
Yeah, I mean, I know that the ranchers that have private land have seen their land become, just open air, free flowing for the migrants to just stomp all over their land. Some ranchers have been kicked off of their land. Real quick, before I get to infrastructure, what was your main takeaway from your trip? Because we've got a crisis continuing at the border, and in Washington, President Biden is meeting with a group of bipartisan lawmakers to talk about spending more money. He's talking about this $2.3 trillion spending plan, calling it infrastructure. Your thoughts on where we are here after visiting the border this weekend?
Well, we're in a very difficult situation right now, and the president caused it. He only needs to reverse the policies that he put in place via executive order on day one. That has led to 175,000 migrants in the month of March, which is a 15-year high. What I saw at the border is people are suffering. Migrants are being exploited by this cartel operation. Some are being put in sex trafficking. Many women are being raped on this journey. Children are being abused. So it's a very bad situation for them. It's a very bad situation for our law enforcement that are completely overrun. CBP begging for help, begging for these policies that President Trump had in place to be restored. And then the American taxpayers who are paying for all of this. We're talking about billions of dollars. And totally unsustainable. So I think the president and the vice president need to go down there immediately, see what we got a chance to see, and also hear what we heard from these agents so they can actually take action. I don't think anyone that visits the border will have concern, will not address this issue. I mean, it's really
real quick,
remarkable.
Real quick, Congressman, are they going to get this plan through reconciliation so that they can raise everybody's taxes to pay for it? Is that how this is going?
It seems like the president's willing to negotiate. He did have some lawmakers there from both parties. Let's see what happens going forward. I feel that if he doesn't get the votes, he will try to jam it through by just changing the rules, which is completely inappropriate.
Wow. Congresswoman Nicole Malliotakis, thank you so much.